So we raise awareness through...
On a regular basis, what is the response culturally
Yes.
to having a skit in the marketplace showing that,
Yes.
do the young men just sort of laugh and say,
Yes.
silly skit, I mean, it's quite normal, we'll be back to doing this tomorrow?
Initially, most people are often hostile, you know, when you begin talking about what they consider private matters or domestic matters. But in, you know, like for instance, I'll give you an example of a group we work with, Sauti ya Wanawake Pwani. When Sauti ya Wanawake Pwani at the coast began to talk to administrators, that's government administrators, chiefs, assistant chiefs, the police, there wasn't such a positive response. Even the same women, when they began talking with their husbands about it, they weren't as responsive. But as the dialogue continued, and this is one of the things with transformation, is that as you keep talking about an issue, people actually begin to appreciate the seriousness of the matter. And they begin to partner with you. So for instance, in the coast with the Sauti ya Wanawake, you find that more and more administrators are supporting the work that the women are doing. More police are now coming up and saying, well, we are very sorry, we didn't really know this was how bad it was. We didn't know how this is how you felt, you know. And therefore, initially, yes, people do think it's not a serious matter. But when we begin to talk on a continuous basis, people begin to change their attitude.
Constant dialogue bears
Yes.
fruit.
Yes.
So tell me, as a bearing fruit, March the 4th, general elections, is there a timeline? Are you ready to, could you put a sort of scale on the map and say, this time round, we can somewhat guarantee that the violence will not be as widespread as it was in 2007, 2008?
Yes.
Could you say that, or you're leaving all to chance?
It's not really leaving to chance. I think the work that has already gone down on ground is massive. There's so many different organizations working on civic education, talking to people that even if you do not understand what's happening, it doesn't mean you need to go to the streets. Even if things are not working as you would have wanted them to do, you do not need to resolve it through violence. We've had massive campaigns in the conflict and management field, where there are several organizations have been working on this. The government itself has been working quite closely through a platform called the Wiano platform of different stakeholders and the ministry and different ministries in government. So I think that one of the things, I'm an optimist by nature, and therefore I am seeing that because we do have so much that has gone in, people will be less willing to respond to issues violently. The people may be more apt to make noise about it, complain about it, but people will not want to quickly attack another community just because things are not going the right way.
Do you feel that there is a relationship between you and agencies such as your own and leaders, the leaders themselves? Did you ever engage them?
Yes.
And say, when you go to rallies, honorable so-and-so, don't do this? In other words, are they part of the plan, or you're just saying, let them behave and we'll get on with what we're doing?
They are part of the plan, but I must say that they're the hardest to find, because oftentimes when you give them audience, it's like this is their chance to say, to campaign, you know. So we avoid, of course, allowing them into our public barazas, because we don't want to turn it into a campaign. But I will say that they are definitely part of the agenda. The provincial administration for many years has been part of the agenda in peace building and conflict management, mobilizing them and ensuring that they use the government structures in a positive way to ensure there's peace. We have often mobilized members of parliament, like for instance, working with KEWOPA, that is the Kenyan Women Parliamentarians, to ensure that women's voices are heard and that women are encouraged to take leadership roles, and they become the voice within parliament to ensure that they speak for women's leadership, but also on violence against women. But I must say the biggest constituents is the population itself, because it is only speaking to those people who vote, those people who go to rallies and listen in those rallies. We speak to them because they are the ones who will ensure that whatever they hear there, they're not going to turn around and attack their neighbor. When they go home, even if they may have a dispute with their neighbor because they have different political views, they're not going to attack their neighbor. Those are the people we are particularly focused on, because they are the easiest to reach, but they are the ones who actually throw the stones.
I'm trying to imagine the scenario of violence as complete chaos. What about your own operatives? What about you? Where will you be on March the 4th? If you'll be in sort of Kibera Central, what's to say that you won't be sort of caught by a stray bullet if there is violence? What do you do to protect your own workers? Or will they then say, we've done our work, we've prepared them, we've had the meetings, let's see if they've been good students?
Yes. Partly is that, but also ensuring that we work with different sectors within government, talking...
but will you be on the ground? Do you see
definitely.
yourselves being on the ground?
Definitely. I'm not going on leave, although I'm sure it's going to be 2 days of public holiday. I am not going to leave Nairobi, because this is Nairobi informal settlements is one of our operation areas. And I will be in Nairobi, and I will be voting, and I will be moving from one polling station to the next, especially among within the informal settlements, to see what's happening and to be on the ground. So
and will there be a scaling up? One can see, again, I'm trying to imagine as you speak, will there be a scaling up of activities on the day? Will the hotlines be even more operative? Will there be more than one number? Will it be more than 1195?
There are quite a number of numbers. We have the 108 number. That's a number you can SMS, quickly giving information about potential violence, where exact location.
Just explain very briefly. Let's assume that there are people. What is a toll-free number? How does it work?
A toll-free number.
Do you just pick up your mobile and go 108 and all of a sudden somebody's talking to you? Is that it?
No, we have different numbers. The 108 number is a number that you send in information, and this is collected within...
so you send an SMS?
Yes, you do send an SMS with all the details to 108. Then
Right.
the 1195, that's a helpline.
A helpline.
But only on GBV cases, because our project focuses on GBV cases. So gender-based violence cases, that's where you will receive somebody talking to you, explaining to you what you should do, how you should manage the evidence, which is the nearest.
Again, I'm imagining this scenario. I'm in a really dire straits, and I remember this number in my mind, the way you can remember 999. If somebody is burning my house, and I ring 1195, are you suggesting that you're not going to respond to that because it's not gender-based? I mean, you can just answer that question.
Definitely. With the 1195 number, we cannot respond to that, because that's beyond the mandate of the 1195 number, and also because
then,
we just.
So then I have to ask. I'm going to ring you to say I'm surrounded by people who wish to rape me. What part in the ordeal do I appeal to you?
Most often is if just before or after. So it's actually across the board. If you're fearing for your safety, and you're concerned that even your husband at home, who doesn't agree with you and would potentially attack you, you can call this number, and somebody on the other side assists you and talks to you and tells you where you can get help by identifying where your location is, and they look in the inventory your exact location. So one thing I must say is that this is a number that has just begun. It hasn't been in existence for very long, and we are looking and seeking for more support so that we can have more volunteers working on a full-time basis, because it runs for 24 hours. We don't have enough volunteers working, so that there's a concern that it might not be able, definitely to not be able to cover as much as we would have been able to do. But I still think the 108 number is still useful, because this collects information as quickly as possible where there's potential violence across the board, and not just gender-based violence. And in this particular case, we do have a situation room with the Office of the President, a special program on conflict management, and they are going to, as much as possible, be on standby to be able to send police. So if you are in Garissa, you send this number, and as much as it's possible within government security frameworks, they will try and respond to potential violence or something that has already happened. They will try to respond, and especially because this electioneering period is of particular concern the machinery out there, of course, has increased. They have more volunteers working and ready to respond as much as possible.
Jebiwot Sumbwiyo,
Yes.
thank you very much for coming on the JSO interview.
Thank you, John.